Welcome back to Mario 3. So we're still in Desert Land. Yeah, the thing... Okay, you know that stupid joke in... Oh, there's a chain jump. Okay, let me explain where the chain jump came from, everybody. I'm sure a lot of people know this story, but for the sake of those who don't...
Oh, yeah.
Basically, there was one point in time in between the making of Super Mario Bros. 2 and 3 where apparently Miyamoto had this incident where a dog tried to maul him. Fortunately, that dog was on a chain. And apparently Miyamoto got really scared, and that's where he got an inspiration for Chain Chomp.
As a kid who was chased by dogs occasionally on my way to the bus stop, I sympathize.
Like, one particular thing that I really love is the Easter egg in Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening, where there's a Chain Chomp called by its owner, Bow Wow. And there's even a point in that game where you actually take Bow Wow for a walk, and that's really funny.
And it's made of gold. We actually incorporated that as a weapon for other Bruce Mario.
Alright, so the P...
Wait. Sorry, okay. Sunshine, my bad.
So yeah, the P-switch was also debuted here. Basically what it does, it turns all blocks into coins. I'm trying to get to it, give me a moment. But yeah, that's basically what Chain Chomp came from.
Speaking of coins, it might as well now be a good time that I...
made his debut in.
Thanks for interrupting me there, but anyway, since we are on the topic of coins, I might as well build off of what I mentioned in the last part, the treasure ship. I mean, I've talked about it in other videos, so might as well talk about it in the game where it actually debuted.
Go ahead.
The Dream Ship was one of the most cryptic things to ever get in a video game. And for something that was essentially just coins, it was weird. Oh, it's terrible. Oh.
Actually, that's Toad.
Transformed! Please find the magic wand so we can change him back!
It's always the same line, Liv, so don't bother. Yeah, this particular king was turned into a spider, as you have seen.
This king has terrible security!
And apparently, this particular ship was built out of green wood.
Bowser painted it to reflect his image.
I guess. Alright.
Anyway.
Go on.
The treasure strips are summoned through a trick that must be performed by following this very specific method. Step 1. The player must be in either World 1, Grassland, World 3, Waterland, World 5, Skyland, or World 6, Iceland.
Sure.
Step 2. A wandering hammer brother must be on the world map. Step 3. Mario or Luigi must finish a stage with a coin total ending in a multiple of 11. 0 does not count.
Yeah.
Step 4. The tens digit of the player's score must match the multiple of 11. Per se, if the coin total is 11, the tens digit must be 1. If the coin total is 22, the tens digit must be 2, and so on.
I see that I see that obtuse nature of Zelda 1 rubbed off on this game.
I mean, at least with Zelda 1, it's more like you gotta find out a specific action. Here, it is a specific sequence for a weird thing. Anyway, here we're fighting Morton.
It's so bizarre because it sounds the thing that you will hear as a urban legend, but it's not really true. Like, again, putting comparison to the whole push the truck to find Mew in Pokemon, that one seems more reasonable, and yet it's not true.
And yet, keep in mind, that's just step 4. There's still a 5th step. As each second left on the timer will award the player 50 points, the timer must be stopped on an even number so that the number of points received is a multiple of 100. Alternatively, an odd number will
thank heavens, I'm back to my old self again. Hold on, Java. Thank you so much. Here is a letter from the princess. You read the previous one, so... yeah, thanks, King. Alright, greetings. You can stomp on your enemy's goons in Goomba's shoe. I have enclosed the jewel that helps protect you. Yeah, that's actually a good point. Princess Toadstool. Yeah. And she gave me a cloud. Go finish off, Jova.
I pretty much just read the step there, but yeah. Basically, if the above criteria is met with the 5 steps I mentioned, the player ends a stage with 44 coins and a score of, say, 246240, they will successfully trigger a treasure ship. It should be noted that this trick will work only once in any given world.
And
If the trick is performed while a treasure ship is on the map, it will revert to a Hammer Brothers, so don't mess up and do the same thing over again if you get the treasure ship, otherwise it'll just turn back into a Hammer Bro.
Okay, that overworld sprite for Mario, I know it's meant to be him having the Tanuki suit, but on that overworld sprite it makes it look like he has devil horns.
Yeah, like Java was. Yeah, like Java was saying, the worlds in this. First of all, this world 3 here is called, get this, Waterland. Yes, Waterland. Somehow that feels even more generic than World 3 1.
Well, hey, at least the Mario Brothers Super Show was accurate on one thing.
Yeah, I was about to bring that up.
It's pathetic naming.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, everybody. Yes, the whole thing in Super Mario Brothers, in the Super Mario Brothers Super Show, where they call every single place that they're in Carland, Spaceland, or whatever it is. It's a direct nod to this game. My god, like, could you come up... I mean, somehow I actually prefer the numbers over the names, to be honest. Like, at least when it's something like World 3-4, at least it's just numerology, that's fine. But when you actually spell out just Waterland, or Skyland, or Lava Land, like, just mentioning, like, just describing it via words makes it sound even more generic. Just keep the numbers, stick to numbers, classic Mario games, please. Which, fortunately, they will after this one.
No, World gives them names as well. Like,
yeah.
Oh, right.
Well, in general, World seems to, if I recall correctly, set entirely on Dinosaur World or something, whatever it's called.
I think so, yes. It's been a while since I read that manual.
So, who wants to look it up?
Well, actually, Dej, I do have, speaking of manual, I actually do have something from the manual that I want to bring up, but you can mention something while I search for it real quick, go on.
Oh, this is actually the premiere of the athletic theme, I forgot if we mentioned it.
I think we heard it in the previous part, but either way, it's a good one.
The entire soundtrack of this game is a winner. All of it. Go on. No, go on.
Curious, what is your favorite Mario soundtrack?
That would be...
It's called Dinosaur One.
Probably... Okay. Probably Super Mario Galaxy 2's soundtrack. Like...
My favorite's Odyssey's.
I'll go with Galaxy 1. Odyssey is fine, you know, the highlight being, of course, Jump Up Superstar, but I prefer the more overall orchestral vibe that Galaxy did. That is to say, the body said hi to begin with anyway, so...
Well, the thing about...
incorporates the orchestra along with other genres.
Yeah.
It tries to be a bit more combine a bit the orchestra with the jazz that 3D Land and 3D World premiered.
Well, that's the thing too. Koji Kondo's original compositions for these early games are actually jazz themselves. So if anything, 3D Land going back to that style is basically exactly... It was an intentional decision to go back to Koji Kondo's original vision in terms of the music of the series.
Like how when you get down to it, Sonic's old chiptune themes were based in rock, as were Mega Man's, of course.
Well, depends on the game. Well, depends on the game because
Michael Jackson was in the rock genre.
But it was pop.
Well, according to the composers themselves, it kind of depends on the game. Nakazato Nakamura said when it comes to the music of Sonic 1 and 2, he took inspiration from film, and Naofumi Ataya used more techno as his major thing for Sonic CD. As for Sonic 3 and Knuckles, that one was definitely more.
It was rock and pop. Which again, those were genres that Michael Jackson excelled in.
Sure. Well, crap.
Won't save you
yeah, that's the thing about this level. This level is annoying as fuck because that fish will kill you in one hit. And he can be really tough to get rid of. So, and even if you do get rid of him, he will just respawn. So, yeah, combined with the fact that the water level keeps rising and lowering, yeah, that enemy can be a fucking pain. Alright, let's see again. But I was gonna say, yeah, basically, That's the bit. As for Mario was if anything too, like Galaxy 1 was actually the first one to properly diverge from the jazz direction. So if anything, games post Galaxy 2 are just going back to how it was. So
Sure. What genre would be classified instead the Sunshine soundtrack?
there's still
Definitely
some
tropical.
there's also some jazz in there still. They mix it, but like Jova said, they mix in with some tropical themed scores.
Sunshine. Despite your BS in terms of 100%ing you had some things that I do wish this series would try again with.
It's the Sonic Heroes of Mario game.
I will argue Odyssey. I will argue
Like a Sonic Adventure 2, if we're regarding the plot, given the whole Mario getting
you mean in terms of plot?
mistaken for a dark evil
No,
version
I'm
of
talking
him.
about in terms of the game itself. Like, they have very,
See, the problem.
interesting choices,
The
and they also affected the franchise going forward for a little while.
Well, the thing we also have to remember, Dej, is that Sunshine was actually rushed. And come out, and that's why it's come out of unpolished. After Luigi's Mansion failed to set the world on fire, you guys have to remember, everybody. Luigi's Mansion is very popular now, but back in 2001, that wasn't the case. Believe it or not, people really wanted But when the GameCube first came out, everybody's question was, "Where's the new Mario game? Where's the new Mario game?" And Luigi's Mansion didn't really sell particularly great compared to 64. So basically, Nintendo kind of ordered for a Mario game to get a Mario game out ASAP. Basically, go on.
And also get it by the summertime instead of the holidays.
Yeah, that too.
And the GameCube era in general is interesting. Like, it's definitely something that people look back on fondly, but with how it went currently during that point, well, okay, I'm not gonna act like it was god-awful, but
I mean, I should talk about
it was definitely a lot more strenuous than people remember.
Let me talk about Frog Mario real quick.
In the GameCube era.
Yeah, as you can see, Frog Mario is great for swimming, basically. So basically, it's always when you're in Waterland. The moment you get a frog suit, make sure to save it for Waterland and just use it specifically for the water the levels, basically. Because thanks to the Frog Mario, you can swim in various directions instead of just constantly mashing the A button like we've been doing up until this point in this series. So definitely save Frog Mario for water levels. Go on. Go on, Joe.
Where was I?
GameCube era.
Yeah, GameCube era.
The GameCube era. People like to speak fondly and saying, "Oh, I wish that Nintendo were this dedicated to power in the consoles they were in the GameCube era." Which, again, don't get me wrong.
They actually tried making video games.
No, here's the thing about that. See, here's the thing. I don't have a problem with what they did post GameCube. Because at the time they really needed to do something, because when they tried competing directly with the GameCube, they didn't really make it. The thing that Nintendo doesn't seem to realize is that it wasn't so much because of the console itself that was the problem. The problem is that the GameCube was during that era where there was this kind of insecurity on a lot of gamers, where the M-rated stuff like GTA became the most popular thing. Nowadays things have come full circle. Now we're gone back to Mario and stuff like that being more popular again. So if Nintendo actually tried to make a proper 4K console, they would succeed just as much as with the Switch, in my opinion, because like the GameCube. The GameCube was just poor timing. It wasn't really because it didn't have any good games. It was more so because it came out at a time where the gaming landscape was in a very specific place. Go on.
Also the PlayStation 2.
Yeah, I was about to say, and also the PS2 had already killed the Dreamcast and was setting its eyes somewhere else.
Yep.
A lot of people.
How did the Xbox survive?
Halo.
Oh, okay. To give the Xbox some credit, while its first outing did not go the best, what it did have was a lot of goodwill with how Microsoft handled the console.
I think they've made a point, probably the first.
Not to mention, Teo, if you actually look at the sales numbers.
This is right. Halo helped out immensely.
Actually, I think it was Deji that said that. But the point is, that's the thing, Teo. Believe it or not, if you actually look at the sales numbers, the original Xbox actually outsold the GameCube. So it didn't do not by much, but it still outsold the GameCube. So technically, they didn't do as bad as Nintendo in that gen, hardware sales wise, of course.
Although one thing to take into account is perspective here. Like, when your first outing is barely better than, you know, the company that is on their worst selling, well, okay, maybe that wasn't their worst selling, but definitely one of their worst selling consoles to date, that's not a good first outing. So honestly, surprise at Microsoft surviving is warranted, but I can also easily see the reasons as to how they did make it. Because one, well, yeah, Halo is definitely the big de facto reason.
Yeah. They
did also have a good fair share of good IPs.
They had some great third-party content. For example, remember, at the time, their console was the only one that had the Knights of the Old Republic games. They were available on every platform now, but back in the early 2000s, aside from PC, Xbox was the only console you could get them in. Stuff like that, basically.
Pedro, before Mario...
Oh yeah, I forgot to explain this. Basically, this castle is a fucking maze. Fortunately, the mazes in this game are not as bad as the ones in Super Mario Bros. 2, Japan Super Mario Bros. 2, I mean. But yeah, basically, I'm trying to... This is actually one of those cases where, yeah, I haven't played this game in a few years, so I genuinely forgot what was the pattern I was supposed to go through, so... And I'm like, whatever, I'm not gonna cut this out because it serves as a good way to demonstrate a possible newcomer going through this level, so might as well, why not? And not to mention, nice to see the time up a bit, why not? So let's try it again, go on.
But yeah, some people say, oh, Nintendo aren't gonna follow up the Switch on a proper Switch sequel because the way they always do it is that they've always got to do something weird and strange. To which I provide a counterpoint. That was how it was during the days of Iwata. But ever since his unfortunate passing and since we've gotten a new president, Nintendo have definitely handled things different. Now, this is not to say that, oh, this means that they've gotten rid of, you know, their creative mindset and whatnot, but I think they definitely handle things a bit more business-oriented, to which point, I'm kind of with the speculation that the sequel to the Switch is going to be an uber-powered Switch that can actually keep up with the competition tech-wise.
That's a thing, Jova.
They have seen that the Switch is a sweeping success, so the best thing to do would be to make the next system powerful enough that it can get all the third-party support.
The interesting thing for me, Jova, is the fact that from a business I don't envy Nintendo's executives right now. Let me explain why. I don't envy them at all right now. Why? Yes, they're because now they have to follow up the Switch with something else. They can't just keep using the Switch forever. They have to eventually. The problem is, okay, we can't keep using the Switch because the Switch is already outdated hardware by today's standards. So we need to change from a powerful console. The problem is, remember, one of the big reasons the Switch was incredibly successful is because of its lower price point compared to the competition. The portability, of course, but I will argue that the lower price is probably the number one reason. Now they have to make a more powerful console, but in order to make a more powerful console, they have to raise the price point. So that potential
raising the price point during a recession.
So now it's gonna be. They were basically they can't make the console too powerful because they still want to have a console that's significantly cheaper. But at the same time, they can't make it too weak because if it's too weak, it will be a problem in terms of making it third-party friendly. So it's I'm honestly very curious to see what's going through their minds right now because this is kind of a conundrum for them actually.
Okay, this is what it'll be. Hey, you see that Steam Deck? Let's just do that.
Okay, to be fair, the Steam Deck is not flawless, but okay. Here's about
it's just like, oh, okay, well, it'll be powerful, but their mindset will be, what if we launch something like a major game like Zelda or Mario?
Yeah, the speculation that instead that the next Mario game instead has been kept, on hold on purpose to be a launching title.
Mm-hmm.
Some people are wondering, especially since Nintendo are playing coy, like, not too long ago they suggested that the Switch is only at half of its life cycle, but
it's
I could see them
it's almost
easily
7 years
amending
old.
that.
Usually, okay. Well, not
I got mine
always.
on launch.
Well, not always a thing. Usually, a console lifespan is between 7 and 10 years tops. The pandemic kind of scrambled things a bit, obviously a bit for everyone, but for the Switch it wasn't a problem because it had already been released like less than 3 years, so it was relatively still young by that.
The PS5 and the Xbox X managed to come out in late 2020.
Oh yeah. Well, remember, guys, the thing we have to remember is that by the time the pandemic started, those consoles were already nearly finished and ready to start mass production. So they could. It's not like at that point they had to just release them at that point. I mean, everything was all the contracts were already made. Like everything was planned out. They couldn't just now suddenly delay the console for 2 years.
And even still, we see a ton of stock shortages for both of them.
Only, for example, the PS5 only now is increasing production.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Apparently, Sony are trying to get on top of that issue.
All right. So.
And I've mentioned this multiple times, but first, it's been reported that Nintendo are producing more Switches for this year.
Oh, sure.
I don't know why. And allegedly, we all know that the pandemic has affected a lot of game development, and we're still seeing the effects today.
Mm-hmm.
Allegedly, the Switch Pro was meant to come out, but because shortages and hardware stuff, they decided to scrap it and work on a new console.
I guess.
So as Pedro showed, you can in fact kick some blocks using the tail.
Well, yeah. I mean, the tail web counts as an attack, so it makes sense.
No. I was talking as in you were able to kick one of the blocks so that it moved.
Oh, right. Okay, the blue blocks. Yeah, that's a good cue. Thank you. The blue blocks can actually be picked up and thrown, like Jova said. So make use of them.
Or in this case, kicked across the floor. In that regard.
Mm-hmm. And there you go. Yeah, that's basically the base. This is going to be the basic strategy of 2D Mario games moving forward. Higher quantity, bite-sized levels. You can talk about your preference. Maybe you prefer the more smaller number with longer levels, or maybe you're fine with the bite-sized nature of the levels moving forward. I will argue they make the game easier to pick up and play and take a break. So I'm not complaining.
Well, I don't know about 2D Mario, but having played Odyssey, I do like how that game handled how long the levels are.
Well, the thing is, in Odyssey, you can just save at any point wherever you are, so it's not like it's ever a problem in terms of taking a break. So.
Anyway, in regards to the whole Switch sequel, I think what Nintendo are probably going to go for is they are going to increase the power of the system. However, they'll probably settle for just 4K, and by the time that the Switch sequel comes out, while 4K will be a standard amongst games, it won't be like the highest standard, which will probably allow them to charge the Switch at a reasonable price, essentially. But this time, pretty much be able to keep up with the competition, and no one can use the excuse of it being, overpowered, because, okay, look, even if it's not the top end, I don't think we have to go beyond, unless it really just requires that much processing power.
Look, I just want the games to run and look better, that's all.
Yeah, my point is never mostly about necessary graphic, but run performance. Let me put it this way, you're the Transformers fan, so what is the exact phrase of Optimus? Like, that every life in the universe has the right to be preserved or something like that?
It varies from every iteration, but yeah, kind of like that.
My point being, every game has the right to run at 60 FPS no matter what.
Oh, sure.
Pretty much. Honestly,
the Crash Bandicoot games run okay on Switch.
Yes, and that was done by just one guy, which, again, this is why I do argue that sometimes the shoddiness of some Switch ports are just companies being lazy. That's not always the case, but it is blatantly the case in some regards here and there. That's part of why I do think Nintendo are definitely going to make a more powerful system. I don't think they're going to prioritize looks, though. Like, sure, they'll make it so that it can at least run 1080p consistently across games.
Sure.
But most importantly, 60 frames per second needs to be the norm.
Yeah, because right now, the best way to play Breath of the Wild is not on the Switch or the Wii U. It's on PC, emulating it on the Wii U emulator at 60, because you can increase the fidelity, you can increase the frame rate. Go on.
For some reason, with a lot of mods, which includes replacing Link with Shrek.
Oh yeah, there's also mods, but like
and replace they replaced Link with CJ from San Andreas.
But
we're gonna talk about how they replaced Link with Bowser.
All right, quick.
Anyway, what were you saying, Dej, earlier?
But some people can't emulate, and so...
No, I know. That's why I'm saying that. That's why Nintendo should actually make it so that people have less motivation to emulate. That's my whole point.
Here's the thing: people are going to emulate regardless, no matter what.
Well, yeah, but look, it's kind of like what happened with the music industry, right? Where the music industry, unlike a lot of the other entertainment industries, actually embraced the digital age faster than most others, because a lot of people were downloading music illegally in the early 2000s, and what they did is they fully embraced digital music selling, and sales went up from that, because now that music was so easy to get compared to how it was with physical media, people actually started buying music legally digitally a lot. So there are ways you can. Not that incentive, it's legal.
Should have waited for the screen to go a bit higher there before you tried to go towards the music note.
Right. I hate this fish. I really do. Like.
I think also we saw that in the previous part, but I think it is also the game that introduces auto-scrollers.
Well, actually, no. To remember, Smash Bros. 2 kinda also had this. It was technically just the platform that was moving. Was not the level itself, but it technically kinds is an auto-scroller. Technically, I guess.
So you don't touch. So it's not like if you touch the water, you instantly...
No. The fish is the problem, not the water, see? Not that. Anyway, let me read the story from the manual.
The fish was promised an Italian meal, and that's what he got.
I guess. Anyway, the Mushroom Kingdom has been a peaceful place thanks to the brave deeds of Mario and Luigi. The Mushroom Kingdom forms an entrance to the Mushroom World where all is not well. Bowser has sent his 7 children to make mischief as they please in the normally peaceful Mushroom World. Take a shot how many times they say Mushroom World. They stole the royal magic wands from each country in the Mushroom World and used them to turn their kings into animals. Mario and Luigi must recover the royal magic wands from Bowser's 7 kids to return the kings to their true forms. Goodbye and good luck, says the princess and Toad as Mario and Luigi set off on their journey deep into the mushroom. So there you go, guys. For once, Princess Peach was not kidnapped. Instead, we're trying to save all the various kings at the Mushroom World.
Also, now that I think about it, that plot point of King Bowser, quote-unquote, being transformed into a mushroom from Koopa in the live-action movie, that was a reference to this?
Yeah.
Apparently.
Oh, it bypassed my mind.
You're giving the movie too much credit.
We also have Larry.
Okay, again, as much as I hate that with I can see if it still took some innovation, because as I noted during the movie, some elements were still clearly inspired, but we just took their own bizarre artistic direction.
We also have Larry Koopa.
Credit was due.
Yeah, go on, Pedro, sorry.
We also have Larry Koopa saying, "We took 7 wands from the 7 kings. Each of us has one. Our father has instructed us to protect the wands." Alright, in the next part I'll read the enemy lineup. Go on.
Which also reminds me of something that we didn't mention in the previous game. How sad is it that Peach's playable debut, turned out to be just a dream, and we had to wait God knows how long until, she was actually playable in a mainline Mario game.
Well, hey, at least she had Super Princess Peach.
Her role in that was severely underrated.
The quest for the vibrator, yes.
Again,
hey, look.
honestly...
Hey, look, guys. As Dennis Hopper would say, ba-bum. See?
Yes. Honestly, I would not be amiss to a Super Princess Peach sequel. I mean, obviously have it be better than the original, but there is potential. And honestly, I don't even think that the Super Princess Peach game was necessarily bad.
No one said it was bad, it was just weird.
Unique.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, I kid you not, Peach eats her enemies in that game.
Vibing.
Also, the game has like a.
Some say that Koopa is still running.
The game also has a plot point that
You
wasn't
can
resolved.
still hear.
Yeah, you can still hear it.
He will be
Sometimes
stuck
I
in
can
that
still
state
hear it
forever.
going in the night, in the wind of the night.
That poor Koopa Troopa.
No, how dare you? Never reference that ever.
Wait, what?
He knows what he was referencing.
Yeah.
Actually, Java was referencing Metal Gear Solid Portable Ops.
No,
it's all good.
me and Dej are kind of in sync with that, so don't worry.
Alright, so let's continue exploring Waterland.
While Mario has doomed that poor
How
Koopa to be stuck in
creatively
his shell
bankrupt
forever.
must you be to name the place where you live in Waterland?
So,
Water World.
imagine if the whole world was like that. England would be known as Tea Land.
It's like
America would be known as Freedom Land.
Portugal, I guess, would be Codfish Land, I guess. And Tales of
Italy would be known as Art
Bootland,
Land.
because it's shaped like a boot.
No, Lasagna Land. For the sake of not using spaghetti, the spaghetti cliche.
I'm more on physical brand than anything, but whatever. Here for the next part.
See ya.
Yeah.